So how exactly should we characterize the Tea Party movement? Let's ask UCLA political science professor Mark Sawyer and Luke Livingston, executive producer of Tea Party, the documentary film. We had the pictures switched there, gentlemen. We'll get you right eventually. But, Mark, first to you. First, we hear that the Tea Partiers are a bunch of yahoos, that they don't have a high school education. Now, they're a bunch of privileged elitists. What is it?
First of all, I never said that. I always thought that they were older, white, probably upper middle class, on Social Security, on Medicare, but angry about government programs. So it's not that they're not, that they're wahoos or whatever. It's just that often what they're saying is incoherent.
But Luke, you were the recipient of a lot of those charges over the past year and a half. You know what I'm talking about. They were saying, these guys are idiots. They can't tie their shoes straight. I mean, that's what the charges were. And then, of course, the New York Times piece comes out, and E.J. Dionne and a lot of other muckety-mucks in the media say, okay, now they're a bunch of privileged elitists.
Well, it's just part of this effort to keep marginalizing the Tea Party so that those that are interested in joining the ranks of the Tea Party, which is about 48% of the country, would stay back and away from this rebellion. And in fact, what's happening, I think, is the liberals are trying to keep the Tea Party on the defensive, trying to get us to, are we legitimate? Are we big enough? What's going on? So that, we're constantly maybe second-guessing ourselves. But in fact, this is a mainstream movement in America. We are organized in the battleground states. And you're going to see a huge tide sweeping through the Capitol in November.
But I'm just wondering, you may see the tide sweeping through. I don't doubt there will be a political effect or reaction to what we've seen over the past year. But, Mark, is it the Tea Parties that can take credit for that, or is it something else?
I think it's the jobs numbers if they don't turn around. I mean, there's a lot of economic anxiety amongst people, and that always weighs on presidential approval, regardless of Tea Party or not. I mean, I think, the numbers that I've seen, that the largest amount of Tea Partiers or Tea Baggers or whatever you want to call it is between somewhere between 120,000 and 6 million. There's more than 6 million people in California who want to legalize pot. So, I mean, the movement's been fabulously successful.
No.
The movement's been fabulously successful at getting their message out there.
I was going to jump down your neck. Let me let Luke do it for me. Go ahead, Luke.
I have to fight both of you guys. I'm on my own here.
That's why I'm pulling back. Luke, you go ahead.
Look, you got the CBS and New York Times poll, but Rasmussen just came out with their poll that said that 48% of Americans feel that their views align more closely with the Tea Party movement than with Obama's views. So for them to say that it's a small 1/5 of the population or whatever is bogus. I mean, the Tea Party is out there. These people are smart. They're small business owners, and they are ready to organize, and they're going to have a huge impact at the precinct level, and that's what's scaring the Democrats.
Well, the thing, though, is, Luke, and I'll let Mark address this as well, it's not a card-carrying movement. I mean, it's not a political party per se. I mean, Americans might be sympathetic to some of the issues in the Tea Party, a lot of the issues in the Tea Party, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are Tea Partiers per se.
Well, a lot of the people that have entered the movement...
Hold on, Mark. Go ahead, Luke.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Well, a lot of people that have entered the Tea Party movement were apolitical, right? They've never been active before. But you're finding them now, they're getting harvested. They're getting harvested by people that are, concerned, conservative candidates, and they're being put to work. And that's what's happening right now, and that's what's scaring the Democrats and the liberals. They want to marginalize us and make us think that we are smaller than we are.
Well, and Mark, the thing is that when I see E.J. Dionne's column, he says it just represents a sliver of opinion talking about the Tea Party movement. Don't you think it's more than at least a sliver of opinion of the American public?
I mean, small government reaction has always been a significant part of American public opinion. And so I mean, yeah, it's a big thing. But I mean, like, one story I have is that I was talking to a Tea Partier. I was on vacation. I was talking to a Tea Partier small business owner, and he asked me to explain to him what the health care plan would mean for him and his small business. And when I explained it, he said, you know what, I think I like that thing. And so I think one of the things is the Tea Party's been great at taking a very small movement. Now you're going back to the Yahoo.
These guys can't read properly. They need stuff to be read to them in order to understand it.
Well, no, I mean, he hadn't tuned in to the very specifics of the plan and some of the
How
things
could
that he
anybody in
thought about
America
it were
not
wrong.
to? People on Mars have been tuned into the healthcare debate over the past year.
Oh, wait a second. Republicans
I'm a
were
small-
important to
I'm a
point
small
out that the
business
bill
owner.
was 2,000 pages long and
Yeah.
you can't read the thing. So he actually was pretty happy with it and said, you know, I feel like I have a better
right.
set of information
So
now.
let me do an
they've been
experiment
great at
here, Mark.
communicating, and the right's very good
Mark,
at it.
let me do
Go
an
ahead.
experiment. If you can do it in 30 seconds, if not, do it after the show. Convince Luke that he's wrong about the Tea Party.
Well, that he's wrong about the Tea Party? I mean, what do you mean? Or is he wrong about the health
Well,
bill?
you talked the
I
guy
don't know
out of the health care bill. Maybe you could talk Luke out of the Tea Party.
Well, look, Luke, there's no way you can reduce deficits without cutting or changing Medicare and Social Security. So when you guys are ready to talk about
I think
Medicare
he'd
and
agree
Social
with you on
Security
that.
in terms of getting rid of the deficit, I'm ready to talk.
Luke,
But
I
until
think
then, we can
we'd be
reduce
ready to
the
talk
spending
about that,
Here's
right?
what we're going
zero,
to change. What
and
we're
it
going to
wouldn't do
change
anything.
is the government in November. That's what we're going to change, okay? And we're going to have a government that doesn't spend more than we have. And
Okay,
is going
by the
to
way,
listen
the
to their
one
You
thing,
can't do
hold
that
on a
without
second,
getting
guys,
rid
the
of Social
one
Security and
thing
Medicare.
that E.J. Dionne did say that I think everybody would agree on, he said a Pew Research Center shows that only 22% of Americans say they can trust the government almost always or most of the time, among the lowest measures in more than half a century. And the political party that taps into that sentiment will definitely be the winners in November. Guys, we got to leave it at that. Mark Sawyer, Luke Livingston, great to see you both. Please come back and see us again.